My name is Thomas Shows, and I'm from the Diocese of San Angelo. When I was young, growing up, I kind of always had a desire to grow closer to Christ. I remember one of my earliest memories of wanting to receive First Communion, just feeling that desire and wanting to receive Him, become one with Him. But more importantly than that were my parents. They're the ones that instilled in me my vocation. My mother, she taught me how to pray. I remember being a little child at my grandmother's house, and she was probably just trying to get me to go to sleep, but she said, "I'm going to teach you how to pray the rosary." So that day I learned how to pray the rosary. Moving on through life, I had a typical Catholic upbringing. I went to Sunday school, went to Sunday Mass, had Catholic friends, saw my parents. They made sure to take me, and if they couldn't take me, my aunt would take me if I was out of town or something visiting them. But when I got older, my dad taught me that the prayers I had were to be used to help uplift my life, to be used within my life to develop my vocation of what I'm called to do, of how to grow closer to Christ. So while my mom taught me what to pray, my dad taught me where and how to pray. Well, this wasn't an immediate thing. When I was in 8th grade, my dad was sent to Korea. It was the year after 9/11. The world was in chaos. We were scared. We didn't know what was going to happen. And my dad was deployed to South Korea, to one of the military Air Force bases there. Well, that left my mom and I at home, and I had a little brother and little sister to take care of. And I specifically remember that year, both our fences fell down. And it was just me and my mom there that could put it up. And I remember seeing the Christian community coming together, a neighbor across the street helping me to pull up the fence and put in a new one. And my uncle driving in from out of town to help me put up this fence. And then when my dad, when he came back, wanted to put a gate into another side of the fence, everyone from my church came and helped, all the men. It had a deep impression on me. But what was even more impressive was the thought that my dad had instilled in me for years, that if not me, then who? This will come up more in a little bit. But when my dad came back from Korea, he had met and gotten acquainted with a young priest, or he was an older priest, but he got acquainted with a priest there named Father Paul. And when he came home, he decided to start having us pray the rosary together as a family every night. And we tried to be faithful to it. Some nights we didn't do it. Just life got busy sometimes. But we tried to. And that's when I realized that there was more to this prayer than what I had given credence to before. Well, it was about 8th grade was when my dad was in South Korea, was the first time I had thought about priesthood, because of that idea of if not me, then who? Who would take the place of the priest when he leaves? Well, I put that out of my mind as I went into high school. My dad came home and we were praying again. But through that prayer and through high school, around sophomore year, the idea came up again. What do I do? If not me, then who? At that same time, by the grace of God, a seminarian, he was transitioning from the monastic life to the seminary, diocesan seminary. He came and he told me about the seminary, what it was and where you go. So with that, I went and talked to my pastor and the vocation director, and I went to the seminary in August of 2007. After 4 years, I graduated from college, and I discerned that I needed to leave to take some time away. And in 2015, I talked to the vocation director again and said, I think I might want to come back. And he said, well, take a year, go to spiritual direction, and then come and see me again after that. My dad even said that he wanted me to take an extra year to make sure that I wasn't going because I just had a breakup or anything else. So I decided, that's a good idea. And 1 year later, after spiritual direction, after having worked for 4 years, just out in living a life like any common person does, I decided to re-enter the seminary and continue with my formation, because that beating heart within me for Christ, that love I have for Him and His people, was still there and was still leading me forward to Him.